Some of the most harmful dating advice out there tells women that they need to be in their feminine to attract the right man. You're told that pursuing a man means you're too in your masculine, that texting back too quickly or double texting will push love away. They tell you to let him chase you or he'll lose interest. Just lean back, surrender, and receive. What all this advice really boils down to, and the message being sent when they say to be in your feminine, is that you need to be and act a certain way to be worthy of the love you desire. But the truth is, you can't choose to be in your feminine energy. And most of the time, when people are giving this advice, they're not really even talking about feminine energy or what I would call the feminine. They're talking about patriarchal femininity. So in this video, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into why this advice to just be in your feminine is so harmful, including some of my personal story with it. I'll share what feminine energy really is and how it's different from femininity, and what you can do instead of trying to be in your feminine so that you can attract the right man and the loving, conscious relationship you desire. So, what is feminine energy? It's really hard to explain feminine energy without also addressing masculine energy because they don't exist without each other. These are natural polarities that exist in the universe, like yin and yang, expansion and contraction, night and day. This is the universal law of polarity, that absolutely everything in the universe has a polar opposite. Everything is made up of two parts of one whole. And while they're opposites, they're also complementary. They can't exist without each other. We would not exist without them either. But a huge misconception is that masculine and feminine energy are behaviors or that they're gender specific. Masculine and feminine energy aren't behaviors. They aren't what men do and what women do. These energies are an essence, like a certain texture of life, an energetic current that you can tap into. And when you tap into it, it evokes a certain felt sense in your body. And because we're humans in human bodies living in a physical world, there are physical manifestations of these energies all around us. The most obvious being men and women. Women's bodies are designed for receptivity. We're curvy and flowing, like literally flowing with liquids like breast milk and menstrual blood. We have natural rhythms in our wombs and our menstrual cycles. Men's bodies are very different and are designed with more structure. They're bigger, stronger, more sturdy, predictable. There's the sperm and the egg, where the sperm has one mission, one direction to find that egg, while the egg is just kind of floating along very slowly, doing her thing while the sperm comes to her. And then, depending on how the egg feels about the sperm when he gets there, she may or may not let him in. There's the sun and the moon, where the sun is steady. It never changes. It's penetrating with light and warmth. The moon, on the other hand, reflects the sun's light. It goes through phases and a cycle. It's responsible for this incredible flowing movement of the Earth's tides. There's an inhale and exhale. When you inhale, there's an activation. There's this structure in your chest. The exhale, you release, let go, and become physically relaxed and more loose. I hope you're starting to get the picture, but there's a million examples of these energies all around us. It's not just men and women. And like I said, these are energetic currents or like frequencies, universal forces even, that exist in all things. Whether you're a man or a woman or something in between or something else completely, both energies exist within you. You have access to both and you need both. But if you were born in a female body and you're attracted to men, Your natural essence, your natural expression is going to be feminine energy. You are literally feminine energy in human form. And your opposite, the energy that will be the other half of your complete whole, as dictated by the law of polarity, the laws of the universe, is a man whose natural essence and natural expression is masculine. But we can all tap into and embody these energies in different ways, regardless of gender. And we need to tap into both types of energies to function. We also need to balance these energies within ourselves and learn how to easily move from one to the other and back again in order to live a healthy, happy, fulfilling life. But most of us are disconnected from our feminine energy, both men and women, or there's a major imbalance happening and there's no inner union of these two energies. So what happened? Like, where did we go wrong? And how did we all get so disconnected from our feminine energy? Well, if you want to understand how we got to thinking about these energies as what men do and what women do, and got to believing that we have to act in a certain way in order to be a real man or a real woman, and in order to be attractive to the opposite sex and be valued by society, you really need to look at the history of patriarchy. It's really hard to believe when you look around at the world we live in, but the natural order of things, the way things were for most of human history, was peace and partnership between men and women. Men and women were never meant to be at war with each other. We were meant to be partners. And going back to some of the examples I gave earlier, like the sun and the moon, day and night, inhale and exhale, these things are opposites, but they're not enemies. Like, one isn't good and the other is bad. They both serve their purpose and we need both. So before the patriarchal system that we're currently living in, men and women were partners. Men and women were valued as equals. That's not to say it was some kind of utopia. I'm sure there were still issues, but this system is only several thousand years old, which is a relatively small amount if you use a conservative estimate that modern day humans showed up like 75,000 years ago. So men and women existed in partnership like 10 times longer than we've been living under this current system. Each one was doing what they do best, existing as opposites, but complementing each other. One unable to exist without the other, just like all polarities in this universe. And when I say patriarchy, I'm just using this common term to describe the system that we're all living under. Riane Eisler uses the term dominator system or dominator consciousness, which might give you a better feel of what it actually means. But the most basic definition, and as it relates to the topics I speak about, dominator culture just means men rule over women. In partnership culture, men and women are valued equally. The dominator culture we currently live in is not natural. It's not the natural order of things. It's something that has been created in an attempt to control. And there's many, many reasons and events that led to this shift from partnership to patriarchy that I don't have time to talk about in this video, but ultimately it's just a collective trauma response. And one of the ways of enforcing this dominator culture is creating this division between men and women and emphasizing how they are different and creating these super strict standards around the roles that men and women play in society that are still imposed upon us today. These ideas are everywhere and are embedded deep in our subconscious and have been passed down through generations. It's definitely starting to shift in the other direction towards partnership, but it takes a lot of work and it's going to take a lot of time because this is really a grassroots effort. every person needs to like unravel this conditioning and start living life in a way that is aligned with who they really are, with what is natural and with what they really want, and stop feeding into this dominator consciousness. And part of the reason I do the work that I do as a somatic facilitator for women, guiding women back to the wisdom of their own bodies and showing them how to create somatic safety, is because the only way you can go against this conditioning is to create safety and build capacity in your system so that you can be authentically you and be fully expressed, whether it aligns with cultural norms and societal conditioning or not. So when it comes to what most people think a woman is, they're not talking about feminine energy or the divine feminine. They're actually talking about patriarchal femininity, all these specific behaviors that we have been conditioned to believe make us feminine, things that make you a real woman, that make you ladylike and make you more palatable to society and make you more attractive to men. These are the messages we get, that we have to be a certain way and act a certain way, not only to be acceptable and not only to be attractive to men, but these are things we have to do to literally survive. We have to dress a certain way. We have to be the good girl. We have to put others' wants and needs before our own. We have to want to have children and be nurturing. We have to smile when a man walks by. We have to stay young and beautiful and not age ever. We have to be super sexual in private, but can't show too much skin in public. The list goes on and on about how we should be. And men have their own list too. Men are not the problem here, it's the system. And men are negatively affected by the system as well. And there's a lot of really dark history here, things like the witch hunts and other really terrible abuses of women over the past several thousands of years, and much of which still goes on today, that honestly makes it make sense that we've all fallen in line and gone along with so much of this conditioning for so long. It's survival. It's literally survival. We know it's not natural. If you are a woman and what I'm saying is resonating with you, it's not because I'm teaching you something new. It's because you're remembering something that you already know. This knowledge of your feminine power, the true essence of feminine energy and the divine feminine, womb consciousness, goddess consciousness, it exists in your body, in your DNA, in your psyche. It's in your menstrual cycle, it's in your womb, it's in your female intuition. You don't learn this, you remember it. Back to dating and relationships. You're being told to be in your feminine, but you're working with this weird, blurred definition of feminine that is based on these bullshit rules of what women do and don't do. And the biggest issue I have with this is that it just reinforces the belief that you have to be and act a certain way in order to be worthy of love. And that is just not true. You are worthy of love simply because you exist, because you're alive, because you're a living human. And you will call in the right man, your dream partner, when you feel safe enough in your body to show up as the most authentic and fully expressed version of yourself. When I was single and I was getting this advice to just be more in my feminine, the only thing it did was make me think I had to hide parts of myself that were too masculine and pretend to be someone I wasn't, which really just led me to attract men that weren't right for me because I wasn't actually being myself. A specific example of this is that I was running a successful business and it was something I always felt I had to downplay, even though it was a huge part of my life and something I was really proud of. Running a business was me being in my masculine. And no book or coach I ever worked with told me that the creation of my business and creation in general is one of the most energetically feminine things that you can do. Instead, I was told that I should really take time to transition out of work mode, and I should take a bath and do a little dance and put on a flowy dress to get in my feminine energy before I met with a man. And I shouldn't talk about my work. I should only talk about my feelings. And I should actually never use the words I think around a man. I should only use the words I feel, and blah, blah, blah. Like all of these fucking dating rules that just pushed the type of man I really wanted further away, while never really addressing what was going on beneath the surface, which was that my nervous system and my subconscious conditioning made it unsafe for me to attract the man and relationship I consciously wanted. I didn't feel safe enough in my body to receive the love I really desired. It didn't matter what I consciously wanted because my nervous system and my subconscious mind were running the show. And when I finally understood this, like everything changed. Instead of trying to fix myself and my dating life, I focused on creating somatic safety and rewiring my system and my subconscious beliefs about love and relationships, and healing my relationship with myself and reconnecting to who I really am and what I've really wanted, so I could show up as myself on dates. And I could trust that who I was would be exactly what the right man was looking for. And all of this conditioning that we all receive is a huge reason why so many of us are so disconnected, not just from our feminine energy, but from who we really are. It's a huge reason why so many of us are so anxious and depressed, or just never satisfied and overconsume everything trying to fill a void, or we feel like we'll never be enough. And it's a huge part of why dating feels so frustrating and is so hard for so many people, because nobody feels safe enough to show up authentically and just say what they want, because nobody feels safe enough to be vulnerable and share how they really feel, because nobody feels safe enough to walk away and trust that there's always more love available to them, because nobody feels safe enough to believe that they are worthy of the love and the relationship they desire. This has very little to do with masculine or feminine energy and everything to do with somatic safety. You're not really responding to someone's masculine or feminine energy. It's your nervous systems responding to each other. You're responding to how safe another person feels in their system and how safe you feel in your system when you're around them. When you feel safe in your body, you can be in integrity with who you really are. And you're not coming from a place of lack or wounding or putting on a layer of fake femininity that isn't really you. You don't need to show your feminine side to attract the right guy. What you want to do is feel safe enough to show up as your truest, most authentic, and present self when you're in front of a man. Showing up this way will naturally repel the wrong men and naturally draw in the ones that are an energetic match for you. And this really isn't a knock on femininity or girly things. If you love dancing and flowy dresses and makeup and your skincare routine, like that's great. I love all those things as well. But just get curious about who you're doing those things for and why. And if it's not something you actually enjoy, just start to entertain the idea of what might happen if you stop wearing makeup or stop shaving your legs or whatever it is. The bottom line and what really matters is how safe you feel in your body, how connected you are to your own needs and desires, and how freely you can express yourself in dating and relationships. So instead of stressing about whether you're being feminine enough, start tuning into your body and getting curious about what it's trying to tell you. And get curious about your inner world, your thoughts, your beliefs, and what conditioning you might be running. Because your feminine energy is already there. It's just covered up by a bunch of bullshit, your conditioning, subconscious beliefs, your coping mechanisms, and some very old wiring that's preventing you from really embodying that feminine energy that will magnetize the right man to you. So instead of asking, am I being feminine enough? Ask yourself, how safe do I feel in my body right now? How connected am I to my own needs and what I really want? When am I putting others' needs before my own? Where am I doing things because I think I have to instead of when I really want to? Where am I not showing up as my true self? What or who might be preventing me from fully expressing what I want or how I feel? And while you're journaling or thinking about these questions, just pay attention to the sensations that come up in your body, any images, any feelings, any thoughts or memories that might come up. And try not to judge yourself for any of it. Just notice what's there. And this will help you start to uncover what's going on beneath the surface so that you can start to reconnect with your body and reconnect with yourself.